Good morning. It's Sean from Traffic Services, and this is your Monday morning update. It's March 15th, 2021. It happens to be the first day kicking off National Impaired Driving Prevention Week, which runs until the 21st of this month. And we are joined by Detective Constable Scott Matthews from our CIB. Hey, Scott, how you doing?
Good, thanks, Sean. How are you?
Good. I'm doing well. It's Monday, and it's a little chillier than I'd like, but I can deal with it. I've adjusted to the spring forward business. I At least I think I have. If I fall asleep during our chat, you let me know. Uh, the how do we do over the weekend for impaired arrests?
So this weekend we had 10 drivers arrested for impaired operation offenses, as well as five drivers that had their licenses suspended for 3 days for providing a warn range reading.
So the warn range suspensions; those are drivers who were between the legal operation limits. They were over 50 milligrams and under 80 milligrams, so they hadn't hit the threshold for criminal, and they lost their licenses for 3 days.
That's correct. So the first time they lose their license for 3 days. The second time in the same range, they would lose their license for 7 days. And the third time, they would lose their license for 30 days and be required to have an ignition interlock put in their vehicle.
Wow, and never having gone into the criminal realm, they would essentially end up in the same place by simply going through warrants on a repeated basis.
Correct.
Okay. Uh, did you work a ride program yourself this weekend?
Yes, I worked one last night in 32 Division with several officers from traffic services. I stopped 26 vehicles under the mandatory alcohol provision in the criminal code, and all the drivers I stopped blew a zero.
Over the weekend, you said you did 26 tests. How do you determine who gets tested and who doesn't if you're not looking for an odor of alcohol?
So it's totally random. Uh, I decided at the beginning of the shift to stop every vehicle I encounter. So when I exit my police vehicle, I walk out to the road, I stop the first vehicle I see, and I demand a breath sample under the mandatory alcohol screening provision in the criminal code.
Now, you say you choose to do every car that you see. That doesn't mean that everybody does that. You could be every other car or whatever you write down in your book that you're going to do.
Yes, the officer decides at the beginning of the shift how they want to approach the mandatory alcohol screening, and some do every fifth vehicle, some do vehicles with headlights out. So it's totally random, and it stays that way throughout the shift.
Awesome. Well, that's sounds like you did a great job over the weekend. Thank you very much. You said everyone blew a zero that you tested. That's awesome. That means people are uh, getting the message to not drive impaired.
That is correct, and hopefully it stays that way into this coming weekend.
Scott, thanks so much for joining me and chatting about impaired driving.